My mother was a prostitute. My father was a pimp. I bet I got your attention now. At the age of 22, peep this, when I went in, at the age of 22, I had already had 15 years in the system. At the age of 22, when most individuals, when they end up in jail, they probably only been in the game for like 2 or 3 years. They probably 17, 18, just started selling drugs. When I went in at the age of 22, I had already had 15 years of going in and out of the system, from foster homes to DYS locker facilities to jail. My first crime was in 1988. I was charged with breaking and entering. This is all on my record. This could all be proven. I'm not selling wolf tickets here. And at that moment, I lifted my hands up and I said, God, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. I give my life to you. I ended up being sentenced to 15 years in prison. And what did I do? While I was incarcerated, I studied the Word of God. I started to witness to other Christian brothers while I was incarcerated. I seen everybody from murderers and gangbangers, one of the head leaders of the Latin Kings, give their life over to Christ and start walking with God. And God would use me and use me and use me. And I'm like, God, I got this 15-year sentence. 15 years, that means I can't even see good time. I can't get out on probation or parole. Like, what's good? You know, I gave my life to you. Like, I'm trying to serve you. Like, are you going? Year after year would pass. I'm still incarcerated. I put in motions to appeal. Every appeal got denied. I put in motions. I put in SJC appeal and the Supreme Judicial Court, which is the SJC. I put in a direct appeal, and I put in several different motions. Every single appeal and every single motion got denied. And then one day, the law changed. One day, thin air, the law changed. I remember the case. It was the Melendez-Diaz and George Vasquez case. And the cases both stated that if the chemist who tested your drugs didn't show up at your trial, but only produced a document that said that your drugs were real, then they violated your constitutional right because you did not have the chance to face your accuser. So we now have to give you a new trial. So they flipped my case. Long story short, God gave me back 7 years of my life. 7 years. 7 years. And at that point, I thought the struggle would be over. Was the struggle over? No. So I get out and I start serving God on the street, and I'm going back into prison speaking to men, and I'm going into DYS locker facilities speaking to young men, you know what I'm saying? And I'm speaking at Boston Center for Family and Youth, and I'm speaking at Bridging the Gap program for the Salvation Army Kroc Center, and I'm speaking at all these different speaking engagements. I spoke for Boston University and Andover Newton School of Theology, you know what I'm saying? And I'm going places, and I'm sharing my story, and I'm sharing my testimony, and I'm trying to do the right thing. Then I get thrown a curveball that I wasn't ready for. And the curveball was, when I first got incarcerated, my son, my firstborn, ended up in foster care. And I had gotten out and I had fought the case, and I tried to do everything right. And two homosexual white men were trying to adopt my son. And I fought it to the core. I fought it, and look at me, and I'm here, and I came out, and I got myself back into school. I graduated from one of the top 20 colleges in the nation, Boston University, and I'm like, I'm doing all the right things, and I had gotten a job, and they promoted me at my job, and I even started a little company on the side, and I'm like, you know, here I am, you know, I want my son back. You know, his mother was off in the streets and you know, living a fast life, to say the least. I just said, I want my son back, and I fought. And in the meantime, at the time, I was currently still married, and I was trying to work on that relationship. But when you went away for 8 years, and you're trying to come back into, at the time, it was my wife and my children's life, my children were like, yeah. But the woman who is now my ex-wife, she had different thoughts. And while we're trying to work things out, I find out she has an affair. So I'm going to court fighting for my son, and I lose the case, and then my son gets adopted by two homosexual men. And I just knew, because I studied the word, I just knew, no, this is not going to happen. Why? Because this cannot be God's will. There's no way that it is God's will for my son, who's black, darker than me. His mother's black. I'm half black and half white. He's black. Complete. So 75% black, 25% white. He's dark skinned. There's no way that the best interest for my son, a young black man, is to be adopted by two white homosexual men. That's what I thought. And I prayed and I fasted. And I said, God, all I want to do is be a man of God. All I want to do is be a great husband. All I want to do is be a great father. I know my intentions were pure. And I lose the case. Case closed. You lose the adoption. Long story short, I lose my son to two white homosexual men. The thoughts and the fears and the worries and the concern for my son are so overwhelming, and at the same time, I'm thinking that I'm going to have my wife at the time, and she turns around and has an affair, and it's just way more than I can handle and way more than I can understand, and I'm just saying to myself, and I'm saying to God, like, yo, how could this be your will? And the pain was so real, and the pain was so deep. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and share with someone who you think may either be able to relate to the video and or get something out of it. Click the link to the right for the full video. Stay blessed, and remember, no excuses.